This is the Welcome to Humanity podcast with thought leader and transformative psychiatrist, Dr. Fred Moss. This show focuses on the betterment of humanity on a global scale. Each episode will leave you enlightened, inspired, and ready to make an impact in your world. Welcome to the show. Welcome to your life. Welcome to humanity. Here's Dr. Fred.
Always a great honor to lead this particular show. And today I'm even honored at a new and higher level to have my very good friend and colleague, my cosmonaut, astronaut, beautiful human being out here with us to join us for a conversation, to have us be and see the whole notion of beauty and spectacular, like humanity at its very best. And you know, what we're really are going to have, we're just going to dig in a little bit. I have Azule Love with me today. Azule, welcome so much. Welcome to the episode, to our conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm so blessed and feel so grateful to be a part of this creation with you and to be able to share and express with you and your audience. I'm just over the moon thrilled. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Of course. It's just a pleasure. And, you know, probably, look, we don't really know what we're going to talk about, but Azul and I have had some pretty in-depth conversations in the past, and I could be pretty positive the conversation's going to go in some pretty beautiful nooks and crannies. That's where Azul always takes us, and that's where it's going to go today as well.
Each and every one of us is really dealing with something, right? No matter whether we're tackling some of the big problems in the world or maybe even the tiny ones, we all face challenges. Now, I've been a psychiatrist for many years, and I've worked with all kinds of people from all walks of life. I've worked with more people than I can really count, from various backgrounds, dealing with more issues than you can imagine, of all sizes and shapes. So naturally, over time, I've developed a number of ways to assist others in gaining a new sense of freedom and empowerment. Now, I'm pulling back the curtain on one of those methodologies, and I'm going public, revealing the process and associated mindset that contributed to using this particular method with maximum effectiveness. It's all laid out in my new book called Creative 8, Healing Through Creativity and Self-Expression. You can pick this book up on Amazon.com in either Kindle or paperback format. And as a listener to the Welcome to Humanity podcast, I'd like to offer you a completely free copy in audiobook format. Just go to welcometohumanity.net/creative and download your free audiobook copy of Creative 8 today. I really look forward to hearing about your Creative 8 breakthrough. Now, let's get back to this amazing conversation.
Welcome to humanity. Off we go, off and running. So, Azul, you know, one of the questions I like to ask my guests just to get started, and it's really an open-ended question, and it's not meant to be complicated, though some people get at least feel the speed bump with this question, is like, Azule Love, who are you? Like, who are you? Who are you here on the planet? What do you do? What are you doing here?
You know, I actually really love this question, and I feel like it's an always exponentially evolving answer. And I just joined a new online course, and one of our homework assignments was to share a live. And the question was, who are you? And so it's fascinating to give yourself the time to reflect and witness who you are, who you've been. And there's so many answers that I could give you. And the one that feels most authentic is, I'm a loving interruption. I'm a human that is here, that has realized that my soul essence is really who I am, more so than a physical vessel or a physical body. And I'm here to share oxytocin. I'm here to be a playful interruption. I'm here to remind myself and others when we feel like we're ready to give up and the challenge and the journey is too hard or too challenging, that our internal spirit, that our soul's essence chose to be here. And until it's time to go, we're supposed to be here. And how can we create more play and treat life more like a game to navigate those bumps and those crevices and those crannies of the stretch and making today's ceiling tomorrow's floor?
Wow. So wow, it's like a playful interruption or an oxytocin, share one who shares oxytocin or one who brings out the oxytocin not only for yourself and others. And really, the whole description is extraordinary, and I would vouch to say that that's exactly who you are for me. And there's like taking the opportunity to get that we're here, and we're not necessarily here simply as a physical vessel for the spirit, but as a spirit. Can you say a little bit more about that? What does that mean to you when you say, over and above the physical? In other words, some of us can say, well, I'm a physical vessel of a spiritual being, or something like that, or a spiritual being living inside a physical vessel, or some, I've heard people speak to that, but I'm actually hearing you scratch on even a newer surface there, like a surface of really who you are is beyond the physical, that you own your own physical vessel, and there's something about who you get to be really as an essence, as an interruption to how things are going down here. Say more about that.
Well, I attribute this discovery and being in this vibration, being able to be this action, be this energy in the world, largely to the plant medicine ceremonies that I've partaken in, and the integration and processing work that I have diligently focused on after all of these ceremonies. And I feel like to just be a human body with a soul is just scratching the surface.
Mm-hmm.
That the connection that I feel due to the ceremonies that I've been in, the true connection of plant to nature, to Mother Nature, to the earth, to the physical earth, and not allowing this physical body or the experience of a human limit me or keep me locked in a box. And really, the last few years, I physically have felt more connected to a spirit energy or a soul energy versus the constructs of this body. And shifting my perception on this is just the vehicle. And I get to choose how I take care of it. And how I choose to take care of it is a direct reflection of how aware and conscious I am in my soul's evolution.
Well, that's brilliant. And again, there's something about the limitless, the playfulness, the sheer love that you are, the capacity to deliver this unapologetically, you mentioned plant medicine as sourceful or as important to you in the integration aspect of it, in the partaking of it, in the aftermath, in the growth and development as a secondary result. At the level that you feel comfortable, why don't you share a little bit about what you're doing with plant medicine? And again, it is at the level that you feel comfortable. This is a delicate issue, and it's an issue that's, even if it was entirely acceptable, there's privacy issues, there's confidentiality issues, there's issues to speak to. I guess one of the questions I want to ask is, when in between journeys, are you able to live at a frequency that really takes advantage of where the journeys took you? Are you able to, with integration, to continue to upgrade your life in between journeys such that you can make even a greater difference for yourself and others?
Definitely. I feel maybe the first year of ceremony work, I wasn't completely aware of what that integration processing system or program was going to look for me, but I did see the relevance of it. And once I started really diving deep in how do I integrate these messages and downloads that I'm getting in this plant medicine ceremony, and how do I apply it to my daily life? Once that clicked for me, it was like I had half of the key. I said yes to the ceremony. I did the ceremony. I completed the ceremony. I was grateful for the ceremony. But the last piece has always been the integration and processing. So once that all clicked, it literally was like the rest of the key was there, and I was able to unlock the door of my true essence of why I'm here and what does that mean, and to shift the victim story into the hero's journey, to realize that every single moment, good, bad, right or wrong, ugly, evil or not, all was in the divine flow and process of me being here today, and to be fully realized as a human or as a soul in a human body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's extraordinary, Azul. And it sounds like you're at least at a point. I find in my journey sometimes I find, today I was saying that I'm struggling how to really not struggle. Like, now I've been given the opportunity that I really don't have to struggle anymore. I really see that gate is open. It's right there. I don't have to struggle or fight anymore about anything ever again. I really get it. And for some reason, I'm hesitant, or myself is hesitant to enter the world where, wow, what would that look like if I didn't have to struggle or fight? Like, would I be kicked off the island? Would I be like, would I be like ostracized? Would people think that would I be like not taken as serious? If I didn't, fight the fight and and continue a struggle, when the opportunity really exists to just be, and to be this soulful, this soulful vat of positive energy, or a soulful vat of really just encompassing all of life. It sounds like maybe you've mastered, or you're at least getting closer to mastering, owning yourself as an enthusiastic, extraordinary, soulful provider of ongoing, playful, beautiful interruption. How do you do that? Or what do you do? Or where are your struggles if they're still here?
I definitely resonate with you on the vast feeling of, what if everything was possible? Like, what if there was no more struggle? You have the key, you open the door, the golden light shines, and there you are. Your fully realized self, fully activated in your purpose and your dream. Holy crap.
Right.
It almost feels like the fractal that never ends, and it's coming towards me in a way that seems overwhelming, because it feels like everything that is possible, all of my heart's desires, are right here waiting for me.
Yeah.
And so for me, a lot of the work has been fear of the success, I believe, the vastness of the dream and vision, and the fear and the block still is, because I'm still waiting for the rest of the team to show up to support me. And so in the singular, just me running this movement and vision, it is overwhelming, it's daunting, and I know that there's so much blessing and abundance to be shared by being a part of this movement, that not only I know that I don't want to do it by myself, that I know that it's not meant for me to do it by myself. And so the fear that I'm working through still, as the team is arriving, is the overwhelm that this is a big project. And at 49, I've had probably several corporate America jobs, and I've worked 80, 70-hour work weeks and gone that route. And I'm still reprogramming my body to realize that we were working for someone else, and the fatigue and the stress and all of the anxiety that came with that is not my reality anymore. My reality is I am of service, and I work for the universe. I work for Source. They are my God. They are my boss.
Your employer, yeah.
My employer. And
Yeah.
I now have that complete trust with the universe that the universe always has my back, that she would never give me anything that I'm not able to grow through and overcome. And so the last little edge for me is to surrender every day, to remember that I'm not alone, that Rome was not built in a day, that this is a journey, and it's not the destination. The joy in my movement and the energy that gets expressed and is cultivated is the daily practice of me being the love bug, the oxytocin dealer, the loving interruption, the playful connector. That's what my daily life is here to bring me joy and bliss, and to share that with others. The movement's awesome. The big vision is amazing, but we aren't guaranteed the next moment, the next second, the next day. So the more that I can remind myself, yes, it is vast, but it also is in this very moment. It's the micro and the micro and the macro. and just reframing it when those feelings of overwhelm come, just reminding myself that
Yeah.
I'm on team source spirit. They've got my back.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to be challenged with something that I don't have the tools to overcome and grow through.
That's just beautiful and really well said. And again, I'm brought to this question of where do the psychedelics fit in here? And why would one think? In other words, now that you have this, why would you continue, or why would you either need or want to continue to take something that literally removes you from a realm of reality, placing you perhaps in a deeper, even more solid reality, actually, believe it or not, of course. And why is that necessary? Or is it just fun? Or, is it fun? Is it necessary? Is it a calling? What's there for us or you to be part of other people's journeys and your journeys into the psychedelic world?
To be honest, I feel like the space outside of psychedelic ceremonies is my sleeping state, that I am fully awake and present and connected to all source, spirit, the universe, earth, all of humanity. That is the realness. The movie, the Inception, they have a scene where they're showing them in dream state. And one of the characters says, well, why do they come here to go to sleep? And he said, well, one would say, why do they leave here to go to sleep? They're alive here. The dreams and the reality that they're experiencing for them is more real than the 3D world that you're calling real life. So I've been journeying and doing ceremony work since 2014. Ayahuasca being my first introduction to that world and that realm and that dimension. And realizing that was the first key of my inception, in realizing that this world, this reality, this 3D experience is just a game. It's everything and it's nothing, because this planet in the cosmos is but a speck. The planet Earth is a speck. So I'm Azul, one little human on planet Earth.
Yeah.
So when I also reframe it in that sense, it's creates that reality that I'm playing my part. I'm playing my role and my part in the quantum field of consciousness and humanity, the soul collective. So it's only big and as scary as I'm making it. The energetics of it. And I believe that if someone has a sense or a curiosity that there is something outside of this waking state of the 3D world, then that is an itch that gets to be scratched. And so do your research, watch the documentaries, ask the questions, refer to a shaman or a medicine keeper, and find out if you are ready for that next step. It is an upgrade. It is an up-leveling.
It is.
I would make the same decisions that I've made for every single ceremony that I've taken thus far, and I would do it 10 times over. Every journey has been a pivotal part of who I am today and in my transformational journey. And I wouldn't be the person I am today without every single one of those experiences. To the point that now this is literally my next path's direction, is really understanding how to be a powerful medicine keeper and how to facilitate ceremonies in the medicines that I'm being called to in the most powerful, most honoring, most liberating way that I possibly can.
Yeah, it's tremendous again. And thank you. So sometimes these ceremonies are very uncomfortable. There are moments where it's just hellish, where it's just for me, the most uncomfortable I've ever been in my life was in the midst of a particular ceremony. And it's not even close. I don't even remember what the second most uncomfortable. That was just hell. That was just sheer and total, like inescapable hell. And I would do it again. So I really get, not only that I would do it again, I'm kind of interested in doing it again. Now, I'm not interested in that level of discomfort, but the level of learning or the level of, discovery that then became available as I returned is so extraordinary, mind-changing, mind-bending, grounding, purpose creating, sort of like I think that the action takes place in this world of integration. And you mentioned a little bit that this has become a very important part of who you really are along the journey. On the backside of these journeys, there's something called integration. You and I have talked about this before and even dealt with each other in this area before. But I'd love for you to share with our listeners, what do you mean when you say the word, what's the point of integration? And, can anyone integrate another person, or does it take some magic skill set? Do you have to be a shaman, or, like, how do you be with somebody who's coming back?
Well, honestly, the integration that I speak of is all self-led. It's all my own personal journey. So yes, in every ceremony that I partake in, there's always a closing circle where we get to share our experiences and dive deep in that ceremony space with all the participants. And the integration and processing that has really supported my life and flourishing is after the ceremony. You're back home in your own space. You're back in your daily life. And I give myself at least 1 to 2 days after a ceremony, depending on the intensity of it and the intention that I've set for that ceremony, will dictate how much time I feel will be valuable for the tail end of that. And so the first day after ceremony, I set my space up with no requirements on my time or energy. And I support myself physically with all of the healthy comfort foods that my body might desire, lots of sleep, lots of water, any supplements that may support my physical body in recalibrating. And I do a lot of meditation, a lot of writing prompts, and sitting still and listening and doing art. Those are probably the biggest keys that I use. And then throughout the week following ceremony, I'm touching base with the facilitator or the shaman. I might be also touching base with any of the participants that really I felt a calling to reach out to, or felt a connection during the ceremony space. And I dedicate at least a week of conscious thought and conversation and writing about that. And the downloads come. They're always continuous. I'm always still receiving messages from those medicine ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say the meditation, integration, giving the self space, and art has been the biggest keys for me.
Mm-hmm. Is there anyone who, like, I used to joke that if people ask me, should I do a hallucinogen? Should I eat ayahuasca? Should I drink ayahuasca, or should I take LSD? And my answer is no, you shouldn't. And unless you want to, then you definitely should. Like, no, you shouldn't do it because I say it's okay. That's for sure. You shouldn't do it because anybody says it's okay. But if you're called to do it, then you absolutely should do it. And, there's something like that. Is there anyone who is not ready? Is there sort of like do you have to sort of meet a certain requirement? And have you ever defined what would that requirement be?
I guess if I was to say a requirement when I'm leading ceremony space, I would say if you're not a full body, 100% a full body yes, then, or if you're a maybe, you're a no. If you're not, this is my guide. This is what I personally have been using in all of my experiences. Once the information is delivered to me, I check in, I get a hit on if this is a vibrational interest or not. And then I give myself space and time to ask all of the important questions. Is this the right time in our 3D life right now? Are we going to be able to honor this medicine and allow it to do what it's here to do? Or are we too busy to be present to that? So one, full body yes. If you're a maybe, you're a no. And it's your journey. It's your experience. It's not up to me to dictate if that's today, tomorrow, next year. Again, I always refer people back to their own internal guidance system, their higher self, because that's your direct connection to source. And that's where we're getting our information. So if you're not reading and hearing and already tapped into that, and you want to jump into ceremony space, psychedelic space, plant medicine space, no, absolutely not. I personally wouldn't. And I would not lead somebody in ceremony in that space either.
That's interesting. And it's really compassion and love seem to be really dripping out of that response. There's something like, really an honor for the human over there. Not that they're, they're not less than, except if you're not a full yes, you're not ready for what's about to occur here. And what's about to occur is a dissolution of who we know ourselves to be. I mean, just a thorough dissolution in a macro level of who we know ourselves to be. Perhaps the disappearance of ego, or the different disappearance of body, or the different disappearance of time or space, or any of the reasoning or binary thought process that we have. These things tend to dissolve. And when they really dissolve and really, really, really go away, then you're left with an entirely new source of what existence is. And it's not for everybody, maybe. Like people are like maybe not ready for that level of just overhaul, like massive, complete mega overhaul. Is that accurate? Does that resonate?
Definitely. I the analogy came to mind when you were sharing. It's almost as if you were doing your computer upgrade or your update for your computer program, your ISO, whatever it is. I don't know terminology. And you've got like 25 tabs on your computer. You've got an interview that you've got to do. You've got emails. You've got all these projects that are dependent on this system, this program, this computer. And you're going to be like, oh, you know what? I think I'm just going to go do that update right now. Yeah,
right.
I think I'm going to go do that. And your life is like not set up. So what would that cause in that scenario? It would cause mad chaos. So ceremony, in my mind, if your life is not ready for that update or that upgrade, you're just going to create more contrast and confusion for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something, again, you call yourself an interrupter or a disruptor, and it's like a disruption if it's called for. And so, in other words, you're here to be a loving, playful disruptor. But in the same way, it's only when the answer is yes and nothing but yes. Not like, it has to be that. And not like I'm going to throw my life into the ocean. I hate my life. I'm going to throw it into the ocean. Let me go do some psychedelics. That's probably not recommended either, right?
No. You want your mental state of being to be at least neutral, to be at least on a foundation that you have the grounding to be able to handle all and everything that's going to be uncovered, surfaced in that ceremony. And the loving interruption also can be the interruption of saying no.
Oh,
that could be the interruption. That if someone is on the path of, they think, oh, I'm ready for ceremony, but they haven't laid the foundation, they're not really a full 100 body yes, because they haven't done the work to get their situation set up to be ready for it. So me saying, as a facilitator, I'm sorry, I'm going to honor you in the highest and best of what I'm seeing as a medicine keeper. And I take that title with so much honor and respect, because this is an honor. This is a huge privilege to be a human in this experience and to be given the insight and the tools to hold that container for others, for them to hold the container for them to walk through the same gates and doors that you've already walked through. And so interruption meaning at any point, yes or no. Maybe it's a no now, but through working together, we can come to the understanding of what needs to be put in place in order for you to be a full 100 body yes, and to really truly be ready to receive the messages. Otherwise, it's just overwatering a plant and the extra water is just running off the wayside.
It's beautiful.
And I feel like that's very disrespectful to the spirit of the medicine and the container.
That's just awesome. I totally got it. And I totally resonate with that. Azul, is there a difference in the journey that you can speak towards? You and I have never really asked this question, but it is really a curious question I have. It says, we look at like MDMA or LSD or ketamine or some of the laboratory created hallucinogens that are out there. Yeah, there's obviously some of these medications, if you will, that didn't necessarily grow directly out of the ground. Now you compare that to the plant medicines, even cannabis, or if we go with cannabis, or we go with psilocybin, or we go with iboga or San Pedro, or whatever we go with here in the plant world. Is there a difference with the journeys that one can expect if they're going down a plant medicine ride versus a laboratory ride, a laboratory medicine ride?
Honestly, I think all of those substances, whether they be natural from the earth or substances coming from the earth and then being synthesized in a lab. Each one of them hold, for me, my personal experience, each one of them hold a different vibration, a different spirit medicine that's available. And so going into those ceremony spaces, knowing what those energies are is a way that I'm able to say, okay, for example, I'm recently rediscovering LSD. I've had a couple ceremony spaces of that medicine, and I've previously been very attached to my psilocybin journeys. And now I'm discovering, okay, well, we've worked with the mushrooms on the microdosing, and I feel like that's the creative side of my mind. It's the loving feminine side. It's my nurturer. And then as I'm experimenting with the LSD, a different type of substance in a microdosing protocol, it's as if the tech side of my brain is
You're
being
right.
turned on,
Right.
and the two are morphing together and creating this beautiful bridge. So now I have full access to both sides, to all that I've been given. As much as I'm a purist and I really believe in the value of the plant medicine, I also think that it's honestly the intention, set and setting, and the readiness of the participant that will impact the severity or differences in a plant medicine ceremony or a synthetic ceremony. I think both have the same amount of power and healing ability, and it's really how the container is set for that experience. Because I could see someone having a mushroom experience without the intention, without the respect of the medicine, and can have what they say a bad trip, as well as same could happen with LSD or with MDMA or 5-MeO or DMT. It's all, I believe, relative. It's honestly the intention, set and setting, and how we're showing up, how respectfully and honoring the medicine that we are about to partake.
So the intention, the set and setting, and how we're showing up play a massive role in what's about to occur.
100%.
And, whether or not it's coming from a synthesized laboratory substance or one that is grown in nature or has been brought forth from nature. You mentioned briefly, and again, we've had discussions about this notion of microdosing and microdosing into, in this case, psilocybin, and now you're dabbling or learning a little bit more about microdosing into lysergic acid. And there's something like, I guess the question is, if someone isn't ready for the full macro ride, could they still be ready for microdosing? Is that recommended?
I think that, again, if someone has that curiosity and there's something there that they're wanting to know more about, then that's a good indicator that could be something that would be the next best step for them. I always encourage all my clients and participants to do their own research so they know what they're getting into. And after that, then asking them, okay, are you a full body? Yes. Are you ready for this experience? Are you ready to prepare an intention? Here's how you create your set and setting. Here's the writing prompts. If someone can navigate that and be a full body yes, then again, I think that could definitely be an amazing opportunity for someone and get them possibly one step closer to a fully activated ceremony. But again, I don't believe that all humans, to have this type of enlightenment or upgrade as a human, have to do psychedelics. I believe that people have achieved and experienced very similar vibrational frequencies and discoveries through meditation, through breath work. I mean, I've had some profound psychedelic-like experiences in breath work, sober,
Right.
maybe some cannabis on board, because one of my best friends.
Yeah. Right.
But for the most part, literally no psychedelics in my system. And so it's like our bodies are a universe.
Yeah.
And it's just waiting to be opened. It's an interscape of limitless possibilities and discovery.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Wim Hof says, get high on your own supply. There's this opportunity to really, really access these, maybe the really sourceful aspects of these chemicals and medicines that are sitting right here in our being, ready to be activated, ready to be lit. And they can happen often from something as simple or as innocuous sounding as breath work. It's pretty amazing, really. Yeah.
100%.
some people I can imagine, there may be some of our listeners there are probably some listeners who are flat out psychonauts, and welcome to humanity. We
Yes.
probably got a few of those who are
My
listening to
new
us
best
today.
friends.
Our friends, yeah.
Yes.
And then there's those who are really just curious or scared or wonder why, or what if, or how about, or wondering like, should I, but my husband doesn't want me to, but my sister had a bad trip. These days there's the regular language, like the household names that these are becoming. When the ayahuasca, people just know at least think they know what you're talking about when you say that name. So you say ayahuasca, or you say even iboga, or you say San Pedro, you say psilocybin. And even a year ago, it wasn't entirely clear to all the public what you were talking about. But now it's really become nearly household names. And big money, and we're talking about big pharma starting to scratch at this stuff and bringing psilocybin into the regular conventional community. I think we'll save our next podcast to address that particular issue. And
yes, please.
and we really start looking at, if someone shows up and says, okay, I want to do something. I want to do something. And now there's a menu. There's like 12 or 15 or 20 choices that you can make with what that something is. It's like walking to a restaurant, give me some food. What would you want? I don't know, some food. Is there something in you, or is there something in a trained integrator or trained facilitator or trained medicine woman, trained shaman, that can assist someone in choosing the proper pathway, if in fact there is one, for I want to do something, what should I do?
I think getting clear on why you feel like there's something that participant, what is it that they feel like they're missing or they're wanting. So discover the why. What is the why that's driving this curiosity? And once that's discovered, then I feel like I do have a pretty broad spectrum of experiences, maybe not a lot of experiences with each one of the medicines that I've journeyed in, but I have journeyed with lots of different ones. And so as someone that has that experience, I would definitely feel comfortable supporting somebody in discovering what it is they're being called to. Mm-hmm. If someone was just really uncertain and we've discovered their why, we have established that they're really full body yes, it's just a matter of deciding what journey and what medicine. Some of the medicines that I would invite or initiate with someone would be definitely cannabis. It's an easy one to navigate without losing all sensory and all understanding of the 3D realm. And it's a smaller journey. It's usually 2 to 3 hours. And there's not a lot of physical responsibility. There's not purging. You can lay down. You can actually fall asleep and have just as profound of experiences an ayahuasca ceremony or a mushroom ceremony. Mushroom would also, psilocybin would be one that I would feel very comfortable leading somebody through and into that was curious and that's new to this realm. And to be honest, ayahuasca was my first experience, ayahuasca in San Pedro in a weekend. And as scary as some people may think ayahuasca can be in a ceremony setting, I believe when that respect and all of the pre-planning and getting ready for the ceremony is in place, every time I've walked into ceremony, there is that nerve, that stomach twinge of excitement and a little bit of mad respect and oh shit, what is grandma going to show me today?
Yeah, what is grandma going to show me today?
Was she going to unveil or reveal to me? And so but I think that that's a healthy place to be when you're walking into a ceremony. Excitement and also respect. And if you're a full body yes, then you've already done your due diligence. And what I'm going to expand the full body yes. For me, it's, am I ready to be done in this physical body? Like no attachment, meaning, and then I use this the same for getting on a motorcycle. If I'm going to get on a motorcycle and I trust this person, I trust my shaman, I trust this human with my life, then I'm ready to say goodbye to the physical body and to be on this journey. So it's almost like I'm doing an ego death and a physical death in preparation of being fully surrendered to the entire experience, all of the downloads, all of the information. And in that space, I've never been disappointed. I can honestly say, I don't think I've ever had a bad trip. I've had interesting journeys and trips, but it's never been something where I'm like, I wish I wouldn't have never done that.
Yeah. 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 That's your experience shines through, and, like, I was talking to someone just yesterday about ayahuasca, and I think he had done it. He said he had done it at least 80 times, and he had taken 80 drinks, he said. And he, and he's looking forward to his 81st, and give or take. And we talked about this discomfort, and he asked, well, sort of like what you're saying, in preparation, if you're able to honor the highest level of Mama Ayahuasca, of grandma, like really get that you are walking in here, and it has power that you've never experienced before in life. You've never experienced anything like that. I promise you've never experienced anything. And can you go in with the reverence, like he asked, did you pray? Did you pray to her before the ceremony? Because that's what really assists in taking on the dear respect and the reverence and the power of what she or it has to bring. Is that what you're talking about? Like in preparation,
yes,
is like really.
Yes.
Like,
and an example just popped into my head around that. There was one ceremony fairly new in my journey, probably 2 or 3 years in. And I've only worked with 2 healers for the ayahuasca and washuma. And the space that they had rented was in a loft in downtown LA. And I had a really tight schedule that week. So I didn't really get to prep my body or my diet. And I still can't even believe that I did this, but I was in my lack of abundance, and I actually scheduled work the next day, the day after a ceremony. And not only that, but I was going to have to leave before the closing ceremony was even going to happen.
Wow.
So Mama Aya didn't really sit well with this decision that I had made.
Right.
And I decided, because I was so stressed out and so like all over the place, I wasn't grounded, I found a fire escape before the ceremony, about 30 minutes before the ceremony, and I smoked a ton of cannabis. And then I walked into the ceremony space like, okay, I'm here. I'm ready to be present. And I wasn't. And I had absolutely no experience. I took 4 cups. And for me, that is a lot, because
it's a lot for anyone. Yeah.
The beginning of my journey is 3 to 4 cups was kind of my norm for the first couple of years, but I've that muscle memory has been established. And so I'd gotten down to 1 cup, half a cup. But that journey, that ceremony specifically, 4 cups, and not even a flicker of light in my vision, not a twinge in my tummy, nada. It was like I drank grape Kool-Aid. There was nothing going on energetically with that medicine in my body. And the ironic piece is also that job that I had, it was a makeup job, got canceled.
Of course
it did. I didn't know about it till the next morning. So I missed the closing ceremony, had no experience, and really disrespected her. And since my regiment, when I'm going into that space with her, is so golden and so on point, that every journey has been beautiful, profound, expansive. And it's the confirmation that I needed to realize that this medicine is not to be messed with. It's nothing to be disrespected or diminished. It deserves, and it gets to have the highest honor and respect, because what it opens up in us is profound.
It's profound.
And it's such a gift, huge gift in life.
I think the listeners will notice that you kind of hesitate, and then you push out a word like profound, because there's not really a word that covers it properly. Other things down here are profound. There's some profound things. We're not talking about that kind of profound. We're talking about a profound that doesn't exist anywhere. Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing. Yeah. And somehow, like, why would blowing my mind, why would that be useful? And, do you have anything for us? Like, I think we've been dancing around this, but there's like, in getting the greater truth, or in getting, access, for me, I think there's like an access to infinity that we're talking about, an access to the natural patterns of the universe. You can start seeing where it is that I am, that this I that I think I am resides. And then translating it in the integration on my return back to this planet as one of 7.8 billion little members playing down here. Why is that useful? Why shouldn't I just hang out here until I die and just kind of like cut the grass and go to work and make hamburgers and watch Netflix? What's wrong with that?
Well, I think we can do that too. And I think we can be enlightened, upgraded souls and spirits. And it may not be for everyone. This is the choice of the red pill or the blue pill. Which one are you going to take? You can either take the red pill and have the consciousness and the awakening of seeing behind the veil, or you can take the blue pill and mow your lawn, watch Netflix, have your vacations, watch your sports, and act as if that is the reality of all. So it's a choice. I mean, as humans, as souls, we get to choose to be in this experience. So for me, I always go back to what are the codes and information that are still out there that I'm not aware of, that will support me in being an even more enlightened being, that will enable me to be more of service, for me to understand, to have even more empathy and compassion for my peers, for my fellow human. And I also have experienced the oneness of all of consciousness, of all of humanity, of all living things. In 5-MeO DMT ceremonies. And the last one, most specifically, that connection, not only to source, but to the earth and to all, allowed me to feel all of the pain and sorrow of our collective, and to cry the tears for those that do not know how to cry their tears of sorrow, and to feel the joy and the love for all that may not be able to feel joy and love, and to emote that and to transmute that through this physical body. Not only supports my transformation, but it also heals my lineage, and it supports humanity in evolving. It opens the container even wider, because I am one of all. Like if I was one chia seed in a bowl of chia porridge, and I'm opening my container, my awareness, my insight, my vision, my understanding, then that's like the heartbeat, the pulse, the energetic pulse of the heartbeat that can be felt 8 feet or farther away from our bodies. I'm opening a container of vibrational frequency of information and codes. And by being a respectful steward of that experience and information, I'm a part of the collective that is supporting our elevation of consciousness. So that's why all of these steps and invitations are so crucial, because it's an honor to be given the insights behind the veil. And if you're not ready, you don't understand that, why confuse the mind? Be in a place where you're ready, where you can actually utilize that information, versus confusing and making things more complicated in your system.
Beautiful, Azul. Got it. Thank you for that. I think what we got a little peek of there is the shoulders, the broad shoulders and the open heart that you are, and that in some ways you're saddled with that responsibility, and you're honored with that responsibility. Like it's really who you get to be. And
it's who I am.
It's just who you are.
I feel like that part of me is not a choice any longer. Once I said that for first Jess and opened myself up to Mama Aya and gave her the opportunity to work through me, I gave her permission to use me as a messenger, to use me as a tool to support the vision of that plant medicine. I wish I could say no sometimes. I really do, because it's a lot of responsibility, and it as amazing as the journeys can be, it can still be a weight on the shoulders, like you mentioned.
To say the
And
least.
it's a huge responsibility. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I'm still even realizing just how much of an honor and responsibility it is, and
Yeah.
just being so humbled by that.
Yeah. The responsibility or the accountability, the respect and reverence that you then have to you need to really be upright about who you be. Like when you're absorbing the entire collective consciousness of all the pain and sorrow, and you become the tears of all of human nature, if not all of the living beings who are here in that misery or in that pain or struggling in their struggles, and you get to be that. That's an astronomical responsibility that you're taking on. So, or that you are. You're not even taking on. It's just that you get to be, or you already are. So,
Yes.
I think one last question, and we've been talking openly about a number of medications and plant medicines, some of which aren't entirely legal in this country, and so legality becomes an issue for some. How should someone, a potential somebody curious about this? I mean, cannabis is legal, and ketamine is legal, maybe if it's properly prescribed, and psilocybin sort of legal in some situations, and then some of these states are decriminalizing, whatever that means, but not quite illegal, but decriminalizing.
Yes.
What are we supposed to do with the legality here? How does one safely walk through to the medications that they might be interested in imbibing in?
I think, again, that's an individual's journey in making that decision for themselves, only because there's this duality for me. Yes, I am a human in a civilization that have a law of the land and rules, and I'm also a soul that belongs to source and spirit. So I think that you get to make your own decision on what is legal and what is not legal. And for me, it was worth the risk to take the opportunity to have that expansion and to have that opportunity. And I don't want to have to prepare my mind to go to jail to have this honor and respect to work with these medicines, but I would if I had to. I've protected myself with the right tools and things in place to make sure that I am protected as a facilitator of these medicines or certain
like
medicines.
licensure in some ways.
Yes, through a church that supports plant medicine facilitation. It's a sovereignty thing for me. Like I'm a sovereign being. I just happen to be in a physical vessel on planet Earth in the United States that just happens to have laws that don't make sense, that are not legit in the sense that they were created to keep us blind and in the dark versus elevating us. So if I was to take something like heroin or meth, not to say that there might not be some healing modalities available there or transformation. I don't know. I'm not familiar with them. I've never partaken in that. And I've never done any research about those substances. And I take the risk based on the value that I see is available for me as a soul. So if there was value in meth and heroin and it was illegal, that would have to be a decision that I'd have to make.
I understand. Yeah. Well said again. Oh, so we've had this, wow, what an in-depth discussion we've had here, an open and in-depth discussion. And there's now an opportunity for you to share with a couple things as we get ready to close this conversation. Number one, is there anything else you want to say about who you are and like who you are as a woman, or who what else do you do? But what else turns you on, or what else makes you tick? What else makes your heart sing? What else are you? And who are you in a community that might have that isn't directly associated with with psychedelic journeys?
Who I am in the world. I am an oxytocin dealer, a loving interruption, like we've shared already. And I'm in the process of creating a safe container for individuals that are interested in microdosing substances that will support them in rewiring their brain, in shifting their realities. I'm also a transformational life strategist. So I get to support people in realizing what their dream and purpose is. I have an innate gift to see someone's devoted benightedness, as my friend Jay calls it. He did a reading for me a few months back. And as an intuitive, clairvoyant empath, I'm able to receive information about someone and then reflect it back to them, and then reflect it in a way that is highlighting their highest essence of who they are as a human, their highest purpose. And so I love working with clients that are in that space of realizing that their daily life, their reality is no longer working for them, and they're ready for the upgrade. They're ready for finding who they are, understanding why they're here. I also lead ceremonies. I do a lot of women's work. I'm in the process of writing a program called the PPP, the Psychedelic Pussy Program, which breaks the taboos of our sexual traumas and our sexual conditioning in the world that we live in, and creates resources and invitations for women to heal their bodies from abortion, from PTSD, from sexual abuse, and through emotional intelligent guided processes and integration, I support them in shifting that victim story into their hero's journey. So very much using Joseph Campbell's hero's journey programming and all of my previous experience in the plant medicine realm, and supporting women in breathwork first, and then possibly cannabis, and then opening up the opportunity for psilocybin if that's available in their area.
Tremendous. Awesome.
Besides that, I'm also planning a tour, a Quantum Love Health tour, where we're going to be sharing oxytocin, collaborating with charities and foundations around the world, and supporting them in working on their projects, showing up and giving man hours to their ideas, their projects, and then also creating a one-day festival wherever we're at, with ecstatic dance and puppets and art and food and entertainment, and creating safe containers for humans to feel safe in their bodies again, and to remember that we are loving beings and that love is the strongest medicine, and what is possible when we come together and realize that there is no separation, that we all bleed red blood, and that we're all in this together and no one's alone.
Really wonderful. Thank you so much. How can our listeners, the ones who don't know you yet, how can they find you? How can they track you? How can they follow you? How can they learn from you? How can they call you or contact you? What do you want to tell them about that?
On Instagram, I'm Azule, the number 4, Love. Facebook, I'm Azule Love. And email is azulehealinglove@gmail.com. And my website, it's almost ready to launch, is morphology.life.
Wow.
So I think that's probably the best way for people to reach me. And then as I have new platforms rolling out, I'll definitely keep people informed.
It's really terrific. Fantastic. A really, really great conversation, Azul. I knew it would be. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say before we close? Anyone to say to our listeners or anyone else who might be here, that myself or you or all of us or anything like that?
I would just say one of my greatest lessons that I'm really receiving the gems and the harvest of is when you know your purpose and your dream and you're afraid to take the first step towards realizing that, face your fear. Whatever it takes to face that fear, to take one baby step each day towards that dream. Because once you realize that fear is not going to kill you, that you're not going to die at the end of doing XYZ, and we each carry our own medicine through our story. And if we aren't able to share it or not willing to be vulnerable and authentic to share it, it's actually a disservice to our fellow man. Mm-hmm. So that's one of my big reasons why this year I'm launching, I'm getting more vocal, I'm more of a big splash into the ocean, because I finally realized that I was being selfish. I mean, I went through hell and back to be here. And if I'm not willing to share that medicine, I went through it for nothing, even if only one person would benefit from it. And if I'm selfish enough not to give that message or share that message, shame on me.
Interesting. Beautiful. So Thank you for being here, Azul. I think we all got that too. It's really, you're just a beautiful human. You're the essence of what it means to be, spectacular and extraordinary, and exactly who you present as. Delicate, courageous, beautiful, powerful. A stand for your fellow living beings, humans and beyond. A stand for the entire universe, for learning, for discovering, for just living. And I, for one, am always totally inspired to be in your presence. And today is no different. In fact, I'd say today more than ever. So thanks for joining me on this conversation. It's just been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for being here, Azule Love.
Thank you. Thank you, Fred. I so appreciate you. And I'm just so grateful that our lives have crossed paths and that we've had so many variety of experiences together in a short amount of period of time. And I feel like I've grown so much by getting to know you and doing, some life with you. And I just feel really blessed that this vibration, that this co-creation gets to happen. And I'm excited for all of the lives that it will touch. And thank you for doing everything that you have done up to this day to be right here, Dr. Fred, for all of the lives that you're touching, all of the things that you had to go through to be here, to touch all those lives. Thank you. Thank you for doing the hard thing and saying yes to your purpose, because the lives you have touched are so blessed because of it.
Thank you, Azul.
Thank you so much.
Received and acknowledged. Thank you. I got it. I love you, Azul. Thank you.
Love you too.
Catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Hey, welcome to Humanity Family. It's Ryan Levesque here, co-producer of the show. I truly hope you enjoyed Dr. Fred's in-depth conversation today. If you did, and if the conversations we share each week are making a difference for you, could you please take just a moment to leave a rating and a short review on Apple Podcasts? Your enthusiastic review helps new listeners discover the show. Your support here really does make a difference. I'd also like to invite you to reach out to a friend or two who would appreciate today's episode. Maybe shoot them a quick text or email, or maybe pick up the phone and invite them to subscribe to the Welcome to Humanity podcast so they can be enriched from the discovery of amazing ideas and insights each week. As always, you can find past episodes along with the complete show notes and links at welcometohumanity.net/podcast. If you'd like to explore how working one-on-one with Dr. Fred can help you break through whatever challenges you might be facing with your mental health or well-being, leading to new levels of freedom and vitality, I invite you to reach out to us directly by emailing drfred@welcometohumanity.net. That's drfred@welcometohumanity.net. Thanks so much for listening, and keep an ear out for another captivating conversation next week. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and indeed, a beautiful life. Welcome to Humanity.